A busy morning at New York's JFK Airport. Travelers rushed through Terminal 8, dragging suitcases, checking phones, sipping coffee. Near Gate 12, a line formed for Flight 309 to Accra, Ghana. First-class passengers lounged in leather seats, some typing on laptops, others flipping through magazines. Among them sat a man in a faded gray jacket and plain black boots. His face was calm, his posture relaxed. A small duffel bag rested at his feet. The man glanced at his boarding pass. Seat 1A. Nearby, a woman in a sleek navy uniform adjusted her name tag, Clara, and smoothed her hair. She flashed polished smiles at passengers, her voice bright as she greeted them. "Welcome aboard, sir. Enjoy your flight." When the man approached, her smile froze. She eyed his worn jacket, his scuffed boots. "This is first class," she said, blocking the aisle. "Economy is downstairs." He handed her his ticket silently. She scanned it, eyebrows furrowing. "This can't be right." Her tone sharpened. "How'd you get this seat?" A teenager in line behind him peeked over her shoulder. The man kept his voice steady. "I paid for it," Clara laughed, loud enough for others to turn. "First class isn't for everyone." She leaned closer. "You think a cheap coat and a fake ticket'll trick us? Go back to economy." A businessman in line coughed awkwardly. The man didn't move. "Check the ticket again," he said quietly. Clara rolled her eyes. "Listen, I don't have time for this. Security." A younger attendant, Liam, hurried. "Over." "What's wrong? He's causing a scene," Clara snapped, thrusting the ticket at Liam. Liam scanned it. The machine beeped. "It's valid," he said, blinking. Clara's cheeks flushed. "So he stole a ticket. Look at him." The man reached into his pocket. Clara flinched, but he pulled out a passport. Liam compared it to the ticket. "Name matches. Everything's fine, Clara." "No, it's not," she hissed. "People like him don't sit here. They don't." The line stalled. Passengers whispered. A phone camera pointed at them. The man stepped forward. "I'd like to board now." Clara blocked him, her voice rising. "You're not getting past me. Go. To economy." Silence hung thick. Then a voice cut through. "Let him through." An older woman in a silk scarf stood, her glare aimed at Clara. "You're embarrassing yourself." Clara's jaw tightened. For a moment it seemed she'd argue. Then, with a huff, she stepped aside. "Enjoy your fancy seat," she muttered. The man walked down the jetway, his duffel bag slung over one shoulder. Behind him, Clara muttered, "To Liam, he'll last 5 minutes up there. They always do." In seat 1A, the man settled by the window. Outside, rain dotted the glass. He pulled a book from his bag, The History of Burkina Faso, and opened it. On the cover, a photo of a president in military uniform stared back. Few noticed the resemblance. Clara stormed past, ignoring his empty drink tray. She served champagne to others, her laughter forced. When the plane rumbled to life, she gripped a seat near the galley, shooting him a cold glare. He didn't look up. But in Accra, news crews gathered on the tarmac. Police lined the runway. A black car waited, flags fluttering on its hood. The storm was coming. The hum of the plane filled the cabin as it climbed above New York. First-class passengers adjusted their seats, ordered drinks, and unwrapped blankets. In seat 1A, the man closed his book and stared out the window. Rain clouds faded, replaced by endless blue sky. Clara pushed the drink cart down the aisle, her heels clicking sharply. She handed a glass of wine to the silk scarf woman, then paused. Beside seat 1A. "What do you want?" she asked, voice flat. "Water, please," he said. She grabbed a bottle and thumped it onto his tray, spilling drops onto his sleeve. "Oops." She smirked, not bothering to wipe it. Across the aisle, the businessman frowned. "You're being rude," he said quietly. Clara spun around. "Excuse me?" "He's a paying passenger. Treat him like one." She forced a laugh. "Mind your own seat, sir." The cabin fell quiet, tension thickening. The man wiped his sleeve with a napkin, unbothered. Minutes later, meal service began. Clara handed out steaming plates of steak and herbs. When she reached seat 1A, she snapped, "We ran out of first-class meals. You'll get what's left." She dropped a cold sandwich wrapped in plastic on his tray. The silk scarf woman leaned over. "Take mine," she offered, pushing her plate toward him. He shook his head. "Thank you, but I'm fine." Clara watched, lips tight. As she walked away, Liam approached her near the galley. "This isn't okay," he whispered. "Stay out of it," she hissed. "He's nobody. You don't know that. Look at him. No watch, no luggage, no nothing. He's a scammer." The plane shuddered with turbulence. Passengers gripped armrests, but the man in 1A sat perfectly still, flipping through his book. A photo of a West African flag peeked from the pages. Liam lingered nearby. "Can I get you anything else, sir?" The man glanced up. "No, thank you." His accent was faint but deliberate. Clara shoved past Liam. "Stop bothering him. He's fine." Hours passed. The cabin dimmed. Most passengers slept, but Clara stayed alert, her eyes darting to seat 1A like he might steal the silverware. When he stood to use the restroom, she blocked the aisle. "Sit down. It's occupied." He waited. She didn't move. The silk scarf woman stood. "Let him pass, or I'll call the captain." Clara stepped aside, glaring. By the time the plane began its descent, whispers had spread. A teenager snapped a photo of the man's book title. The businessman Googled Burkina Faso president on his phone, squinting at the screen. Outside, Accra's golden coastline came into view. The pilot announced landing, but beneath the rumble of engines, another sound grew. Helicopters circling the airport. Police cars dotted the tarmac, lights flashing. A red carpet stretched across the runway. Clara peered out a window. "What's that for?" Liam checked his phone. A news alert flashed. President Ibrahim Traoré arrives in Accra for emergency summit. His eyes widened. A photo of the president in military uniform filled the screen. He looked at Seat 1A. The man was folding his book into his duffel bag. Liam froze. "Ma'am," he whispered to Clara, voice shaking. We need to—" "Not now," she snapped, straightening her uniform. "Prepare for landing." The wheels touched down. Passengers clapped, unaware of the storm waiting outside. Clara flung open the cabin door, ready to force the man off first, until she saw the crowd below. Soldiers in crisp uniforms, cameras, a line of black SUVs with tinted windows, and every eye turned to Flight 309. The cabin door opened. Hot African air rushed in. Clara froze, her hand gripping the handle. Below, soldiers snapped salutes. Journalists aimed cameras. A government official climbed the stairs, his suit immaculate. Liam nudged her. "Move," he whispered. She didn't. Her eyes locked on the man in seat 1A as he stood, duffel bag in hand. "Sir," the official called up the stairs, "we're honored to welcome you." The man nodded. He walked forward, past Clara, her body rigid. "Wait," she croaked, "Ee-dee-dee-haw." Paused. Her voice trembled. Who are you?" Liam shoved his phone into her view. A headline blared, President Ibrahim Traoré's secret flight to Accra stuns summit. Clara's face drained. The photo on screen, a man in uniform, stern-eyed, commanding, was him. Passengers gasped. Phones buzzed. The silk scarf woman stood. "You insulted a president?" Traoré turned to Clara. "You asked why I sat here. It's simple. To remind people like you that respect costs nothing." Her lips moved, but no sound came. He descended the stairs. Soldiers saluted. Cameras flashed. A reporter shouted, "Your aides said you'd arrive tomorrow." Traoré smiled. "I prefer to see the world as it is, not as others prepare it for me." Inside the plane, chaos erupted. Passengers crowded windows, filming the red carpet, the motorcade. Clara slumped against the galley wall, shaking. Liam crouched beside her. "They'll fire you." She covered her face. "I didn't know." "That's the point," the businessman snapped. "You judged him the second you saw him." On the tarmac, Traoré shook hands with the Ghanaian. Official. As he stepped toward his car, he glanced back at the plane. For a heartbeat, his eyes met Clara's through the window. She looked away. The car door closed. The motorcade rolled off, leaving the plane in sudden silence. Clara stumbled. Down the stairs, avoiding stairs. Airport staff whispered. A security guard pointed. "That's her." In the terminal, news played on every screen. President Traoré's humble journey goes viral. Clip after clip showed Clara's sneers, Traoré's calm. Her phone buzzed. A text from the airline. Suspended pending investigation. Return badge. Immediately. Outside, the sun blazed. Clara fumbled for her sunglasses, tears smudging her makeup. A street vendor selling flags glanced at her. "Rough day?" She didn't answer. But across the city, Traoré stood before a packed summit hall. "Today," he said, "I was reminded that dignity isn't given. It's taken, by silence, by patience, by refusing to shrink." The crowd erupted. Leaders nodded. A child in the front row held a sign, "Respect is free." Back at the airport, Clara boarded a bus to her hotel. Beside her, a teenager scrolled through TikTok, a video of Traoré boarding the plane, her own voice screeching, "Go to economy." She closed her eyes. The storm wasn't over. Clara's hotel room felt like a cage. News channels replayed the viral video, her sneering, Traoré's calm on loop. She muted the TV but couldn't escape the guilt gnawing at her. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Angry messages, interview requests, memes mocking her. One text stood out. "Mom's sick. She saw the news." The next morning, Clara dragged herself to a local market. She bought a cheap phone with cash, avoiding stairs. At a cafe, she searched Ibrahim Traoré speech. A clip loaded, him addressing the summit, crowds cheering. "We judge too quickly," he said, "but redemption? That takes courage." She closed the tab, trembling. Weeks later, Clara sat in a cramped airline office, her uniform stripped of its badge. A stern manager slid a termination letter across the desk. "You're lucky he didn't sue," he said. She signed, hands shaking. Outside, rain soaked her jacket. A homeless man huddled under a bus stop awning. She handed him her scarf. "Keep it," she mumbled. Months passed. Clara worked odd jobs, cleaning offices, washing dishes. Nights, she scrolled forums filled with stories like hers, people who'd messed up, wanted change. One post read, "Dignity Project, volunteer in Accra." The logo? Traoré's face. She hesitated, then applied. In Ghana, sweat dripped down Clara's neck as she stacked boxes of school supplies in a dusty village. Kids laughed, chasing a soccer ball nearby. A local coordinator nodded at her. "You're quiet," Clara wiped her forehead. "Just listening." One afternoon, a black SUV rolled into the village. Traoré stepped out, shaking hands with teachers. Clara froze, hiding behind a supply truck. But he spotted her. "You," he said, calm as ever. She stared at the ground. "I'm sorry. Truly." He nodded. "Regret is heavy, but it makes strong shoulders." A boy tugged Traoré's sleeve, asking for a photo. As he knelt to smile with the kids, Clara whispered, "Why forgive me?" He stood. Angry bees sting. Wise ones build hives. The motorcade left. Clara stayed, teaching English under a mango tree. Students called her Auntie Clara. She smiled, really smiled, for the first time in years. Back in Burkina Faso, Traoré's Dignity Project spread. Schools added respect to curriculums. Airports trained staff to serve, not judge. A viral mural in Accra showed Traoré boarding a plane. The words beneath, "Seat 1A changed the world." On a flight to Paris, a young attendant nervously handed a man in a faded jacket a glass of water. "Thank you," he said. She beamed. "Of course, sir." The man, a Nigerian poet, opened his notebook, writing, "The quiet ones teach the iti loudest lessons." And somewhere below, in a Ghanaian village, Clara read a letter from her mom. "Proud of you." The storm had passed, but its rain, it watered new seeds.